All right. Welcome to the show. So great to have you here, Ndzaba. I would love for you to just kick it off. Go right into the area of creativity and whatever feels alive in this moment to share about your journey.
Right. Thank you for having me, Amy. And I'm excited and honored to be here to talk about all things creative for those listening and hearing me for the first time. I am an art instructor, an author, and it's been a journey in helping those who once abandoned drawing to come back to it again. And it's also been a journey of helping those who are already aspiring to really believe in and hone in what they desire to do. And this is a podcast that speaks about creative permission. And so it's blossomed into just this journey of giving people wherever they might be in their area of artistic pursuits, whether abandoned, whether just starting, whether going but losing the fire, just giving them, reminding them that they have that permission to be creative and bold and authentically themselves.
Mm, That's amazing. And I imagine that part of what draws people to you is you like have this presence and you hold space in a way that I feel like would automatically give people permission and like
Mm.
safety, to explore something that they may have, like you say, disconnected from, or maybe felt they they'd never had a connection to.
Yeah, yeah. And I thank you for those words. When I think about why the reason may be, because you're not the first person to say something similar in just like being someone who listens is
Yeah.
it comes from the fact that growing up, I was the kid who spoke softly and had low self-esteem. And if I did speak, it felt like I wasn't being heard. And it causes one to either get mad at the world or to become more empathetic and listen to those who also weren't able to be listened to. The times being quiet have helped me to be more perceptive and observant. So you might know the person who is at the party and doesn't really talk to anyone, not because they're not social, but if you get into a conversation with them, then it becomes something pretty nice and pleasant. I'm that guy at the party, right? Or that group gathering. I don't do well speaking necessarily in groups of people, but one-on-one, I like thriving and flourishing, especially with like-minded people. And so the not being heard, I think, brought a desire to want to make people feel heard and recognized and just wanting to understand where they are, just to help them get to where they need to be.
Mhm. Absolutely. And I think I've been pondering that lately about something that maybe in our lives we have at one point in time viewed as a negative or
Mhm.
a challenge, and that actually that very thing, when we allow it to, can be an inroad, can be a way to connect with others. It can be a permission,
Hmm.
that we can, um, I don't know, just sort of shed some light on in a really
Yeah,
compassionate
yeah.
way for another.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. It's the thing that I've even spoken to my wife about recently that like every time that I'm talking, I'm not listening,
Mm.
right? And so the opportunity to listen is when I'm not talking. And there are people who may struggle with social skills, and there's a place to obviously improve in those areas, but that shouldn't then automatically bring down a strength which is listening, right? Because it is a strength and a skill, and a blessing to actually be someone that uh another person can go to and feel, you hear me, you see me,
Yeah.
right? Like, um, I I tend to I strive to anyways, um, be a place for somebody that they can just talk to as they are, um, and take it from there because I like learning from people and people with different views, different beliefs. I've found that it only encourages and helps my perception of life. Like it just increases it and I become more open-minded than narrow-minded. And it's by welcoming what you don't know and the listening part. So even one person now, just to add to your point, that I follow. His name is Myron Gold, and he's a business consultant. And he grew up and he had polio as a child, in a segregated hospital at a time where the treatment for it was there. But because of the condition, and he has never run in his life, but he said he believes that God slowed him down where his legs couldn't help him so that his mind could speed up because it made him more perceptive, it made him more introspective, it made him more observant and curious about how things work. And if he had too much time, if he had spent all that time doing what other people do with their legs, etc., it would have taken away the time to where he's now built himself a life that probably wouldn't have been this way had it not been for those circumstances. So it is important to look at the good side of what we do have
Yeah.
and not just the weaknesses or what you feel is bad that's actually good for you.
Right. Right. I've been playing with the question, like, what if this
Mm.
was serving me? What if this was,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, so when you get into that creative flow, excuse me, that state of it's a kind of a listening state, would you
Yeah.
say, when you get into the flow of creating? Um, and so you know it yourself. You get to witness it when you're working with others.
Hmm.
And yeah, what are some of your observations about the creative state and that quiet, that
Hmm.
kind of listening?
That kind of listening state. It is one that is difficult for me to put into words, but it feels good. It feels like the moment that I am just being because um initially it will start with a lot of thoughts in your mind. Like I can't tell you how many times I come in and practice and I have these anxieties in my head and I could name a list of whatever it may be, right? I'm a husband and father with two kids. The list is endless. What's happening around the world, right? And as I'm still drawing, which I've learned to do, which is not to wait to be inspired to draw, but to draw, and in doing so you become inspired.
Okay.
You enter that state and the thoughts start to slowly dissipate. The thoughts sometimes linger, but they're not bothering you. You start to enter this place where, I think even thoughts and ideas of ambition or dreams start to resurface. I have that happen to me. I've been practicing perspective and figure drawing within my art studies and even drawing comic book panels. And when it starts, I don't give it too much of an expectation, but as I'm doing it and realizing it, and then the thoughts I have are much more constructive and encouraging towards what I want to do than
Yeah.
um when I'm not or when I just started, So I see that happen with my daughter as well, who is now 2 years old. When she gets into drawing or painting the wall that she shouldn't be painting, um, you can see just like this. focused to where it's like she's not here. But at the same time, I believe she is because there's something about being present that takes you out of the rudimentary, the automatic, the I'm supposed to cook food at this time and do this at this time and none of that stuff matters. And you're just there. And it's such a beautiful place to be that if more people understood how to get there and that on the path to getting there, you will note these things and that's okay. Certain things that don't want you to get there, thoughts, anxieties, that people would be more welcoming and would be doing it a lot more often.
Mm. And this thought just dropped into and be more healthy in like whatever way
Yes.
we experience that or we think of that, that to me, creativity is a direct route to experiencing more well-being, I
Hmm.
think in general.
Yeah.
Um, and I can just picture your daughter, since I got to see her before we hit record,
Yeah.
in that expressive, fully engaged state with what she's
Hmm.
doing,
Yeah.
which is so amazing. Like just watch a child
Oh yeah.
to get inspired, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You could say that again. And she's not drawing anything that you can recognize,
Mhm.
but she doesn't care. And you know, it's not to say that we shouldn't desire to have something that we want to draw or emulate, but that should never matter more than the process of being creative, you
Yeah.
know. And so many people get hung up on the results. I fight that as well. I don't want to come here and act like I have everything figured out, and just because I know the answer doesn't mean I don't fall into the trap of what works against me. But just learning to embrace that process. You spoke about like when we're creative and creativity and just how it helps our well-being. I believe that we were created by a creator, therefore it's in our nature to create, which is why it feels so fulfilling and satisfying. You're creating a meal,
Yeah.
you're creating you're creating a meeting, right? Like you're creating a spreadsheet. It's not even only just the artistic side of things, which most people commonly know, but it's just when we are using our imagination to bring something out of nothing. Though we are inspired by what exists, but like this was only a thought in my head and now it's come to life. And whatever form or way it happened, just the fact that I did that, I think it really is so pleasant to our soul and well-being and gives us that sense of fulfillment.
Yeah. Yeah. And somewhere along the line, we often disconnect or
Yeah.
start to judge or compare or think we don't have time for certain things. And I just think it's so wonderful that, part of what you do is really um like you are the lighthouse for people who are looking to come back to that.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that in my own life the other day, knowing that we were going to be and anticipating our conversation and
Yeah.
um thinking about how the first time um well, I'm sure it happened earlier that I don't remember as a really young child, like picking up some drawing utensil and
Mm,
feeling connected with it,
yeah.
regardless of the outcome, like you say. But then as I got older, I became very aware of outcomes.
Hmm.
And so I didn't intentionally draw again until a class I had in seventh grade. And
Mm,
then I remembered like there was just something magical happening with that pencil. It's like,
Yeah.
wow. And then the feeling it evoked within me. But then again, as life has happened for me,
Yeah. Yeah.
I have disconnected from that act of creativity.
Yeah.
I'm curious. I feel like I'm ready to come back to it.
Oh,
But
nice.
there are other ways that I engage with creativity every day. But um, I think it's interesting the different hurdles, challenges that can come up, um, often self-imposed,
Yeah.
telling us, oops, you don't have time for this, or adult life doesn't include this, or
Yeah. You're not
whatever.
good enough, or you can name
Yeah,
it. And I mean, just to um empathize with you, like there are certain aspects that are outside of us that do influence ultimately our thoughts, you know. Um, just a short story. Last week, I believe, was a FIFA World Cup game between Brazil and Morocco, I believe. And we were planning this event at the church with the youth just to come together and they watch the game. And I'm not so much of a football fan, which is why I'm sharing this story. I'm more a football fan by reason of covenant. My wife loves football, and even growing up, like my home country, people liked football. I just didn't, and
yeah,
it's okay. I tried to get into it, but not really. And what I was noticing on our drive there is so many cars and traffic and people going to their homes because they want to watch the game. And I enter the place, I see the decorations, I see the excitement of the people, and it was such a reminder of how your environment has such an influence on you that though you may feel a way about something and know who you are, it is quite limited if you are in the wrong environment. If you're in an environment
mhm,
that conduces those thoughts, you flourish. But if you're in an environment that's contrary, then it gets challenged. But it's not always bad because
yeah,
it was great to be in that kind of environment. I got excited, you know, to just be in this presence and experience the game, the unity, the atmosphere,
yeah,
you know. And so the negative part of an environment like that is that coming back to our conversation, how many voices do we encounter that discourage us from continuing to pursue that creativity or to just be in love with the process rather than the result? Like we live in a results-based
yeah,
society, right? Like business, you have to meet a quota, have to make a profit margin, you have to show your worth by your results. And there is some credence to that, but it's been prioritized to such an unhealthy degree that we don't acknowledge or appreciate and admire the process to getting to that, which only, amplifies the results if you think about it. Like if I'm drawing to pay the bills, there's a different result to how it's gonna look compared to I just wanted to show up and spend this time at the end of my day and explore my creativity, right? Like
yeah,
the quality of what we produce changes based on the reason behind it. And so you're not at fault if you think about it growing up all these years and having to go against an environment or society which majority feel has to be a certain way and goes against a part of who we naturally are, right?
mhm,
Which is creative, you know? And you said something that also made me think about just like the diversities in creativity and that one creative act doesn't necessarily replace another. And so even though you have creative acts like I do, or creative activities, other creative activities in my life, they don't necessarily replace that joy or that feeling that I get from the creative act of drawing, you know. So I am excited to hear that you are considering, you know, looking at that more, and I know you'll enjoy it for sure.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, it's getting my mindset open to the idea of just playing, getting out the
Yeah.
pencil and a piece of paper and playing. Um, because I, even though I consider myself a very creative person, I live in this world that says outcomes matter, And
Hmm.
so
Hmm.
it's it's finding the ways, taking down some of the stories I built up in my mind
Yeah. Yeah.
about what it needs to look like.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know, what you said is just what I've been experiencing a lot more of. I'll always have that anxious thought of like, do I have what it takes when I want to try something new?
Hmm.
I'm like, do it and see, right?
Yeah.
Which is what I love about the childlike humility to just express and be creative. My daughter's hearts do not look like hearts,
Yeah.
but she'll draw something and she'll tell me, "Oh, papai, coração," because coração is a heart in Portuguese, and I'll be like, "Wow!" And she'll draw like a line and dot and say that's me, another one and say that's a mom and everything. And so like even when I look at buildings that I want to draw, which I was always intimidated by just perspective and your rulers and all those things that just they don't feel welcoming, if that makes sense, right? um but I look and I'm like, okay, I've never done this before. Let's see what I can do, right? And just the willingness to see,
Hmm.
because every time you put the pencil to the page, you're learning something and your skills are developing, even when it doesn't look like it. It's
Yeah.
it's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Like removing that results-based thing and focusing on the process, right? And each time you're in that mindset, you're never losing whenever you're drawing. You're always learning. And that's it's a beautiful thing, you know.
Yeah. Absolutely. Oh, many things are swirling in my mind right now
Please let them out.
based on
Let them
this
out. Let them out.
conversation.
I want to hear them all. As much as you can, as much as we can, but please don't hold anything back.
It's so fun to talk about creativity, isn't it? And
Yeah.
I think a lot of our challenges as well as our celebrations around creativity are universal. So when we
Hmm.
start talking about them, people, there's a part of each of us that go, "Oh yeah, yeah, I can relate."
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so does it feel like that when you're working with people that through creativity, like there can be you're connecting in a way, even without words, to this kind of need within all of us, this kind of language without language, this
Hmm.
place of permission
Hmm.
to
Hmm.
explore.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I definitely do. And because creativity is like it's it's in everything that we do, right? And not just artistically, but like mathematically, people discovering formulas and all of that stuff requires out of the box thinking, right?
Yeah,
But when it comes to like, a friend of mine that I made last year, he has basically been my accountability partner and learning to grow our business. I'm in the art
yeah,
space, he's in the fitness space, but this thing of creating and discovering, and then what are the ways to best serve the people we've been called to and ideas and stuff has given us a relationship that would have been far weaker if it was just about each other's feelings. And there's something to purpose or the purpose of a relationship because I've fallen into this trap personally where I want to make new friends, but it seems maybe the feelings aren't reciprocated or that I had an expectation that they were meant to fulfill something in me emotionally that one only God could and should, and that's okay. But that if there's nothing more to the relationship than that aspect of it, then what's the point? Because feelings will always change in relationships. We'll have our highs, we'll have our lows. But when you come to something that's bigger than you, purpose and something creative, right? Then it starts to really, it starts to feed and give life to the relationship in a way that I've never seen before. Like my wife and I have a purpose bigger than us, when it comes to the family and creating you know a level of stability we never had for them and that they can perpetuate for their children and their children's children's children. That, you know, requires creativity too. And in that process, it's brought us closer. There are times we don't speak to each other about things, but somehow we've connected with the same idea because of that creative process,
Yeah.
right? And I mean, if I bring it down to like just drawing or making music actually, because I used to do that. I used
Okay.
to, yeah, make a lot of music in high school. I thought I was gonna be like a world star rapper, but now I'd rather be a rapper at home. Thank God for like technology and just like music can get anywhere and I don't have to be in a place away from my family.
Yeah.
But I did it with a group of friends, and because of this love for making music, that's what fed our relationship. It's what brought us closer. It gave us the room and the platform to know more about each other because
Yeah.
you get to a point where it's like, what else do you like to do, right? Or what you gonna do this weekend, or how's your mom, right? But like the creative act, then I'm realizing this now as I'm speaking to you, becomes the platform for which relationships can grow. And
Mm,
that's really cool.
that is
That's why
very
we need to
cool.
be more creative, actually, and
Yeah.
do more creative acts.
Yeah. As you said that, I felt like this like an invisible sort of ripple out,
Mm,
from us that it helps that connection with other people. Um, yeah, I think especially in a time when I feel like well, I was just looking up a study the other day for a group an organization that I work with, that in general, employees nowadays are feeling so much isolation
mm,
in their life, whether they work around people or from home,
mm.
Um, and I feel like once again, creativity can be an antidote, a solution, a way to, as you say, connect with people
Yeah.
that just goes beyond the typical, hello, how are you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Doesn't that get tiring?
yeah, it does.
Right? It like just that's all we have with each other is just a hi, how you doing, and that's it, right? Like,
Yeah,
and it's so big, and what you said was so deep about how even in person people are feeling alone when
yeah,
working with one another, right? So it's definitely come to a point where this results-based society is taking a toll on
yeah,
people, and we need to embrace and encourage and bring more awareness to creative acts, recreational activities. Like there's a sister of mine in the church. She's a elder woman, but she paints. She does oil paintings, acrylic paintings, and she was like, yeah, you should come around and just like have a visit, have coffee and everything. And I was like,
nice.
yeah, definitely, I'll do that. And it made me think like, man, when was the last time I went to pay a visit to somebody just to hang out and not for an agenda, right? Like
Yeah,
not because, oh, maybe this could be an opportunity or a partnership or
yeah,
this or that, like outcomes based
yeah, yeah,
thinking, right? Why can't it just be a visitation,
Yeah,
right? Why can't it just be a time to know more about each other and have a relationship and stuff? Like, when was the last time? I was asking myself that because
yeah,
in as much as I'm speaking against something that exists, it doesn't mean I'm not fighting it within myself too, right? And
yeah,
so we also have to be aware when we get into the habits of the things we don't like so that we can counter them and we can make that difference in our lives to make different a difference in other people. So yeah, just we definitely need to bring more awareness to this, and it doesn't have to be a group of people. It can just be one person at a time, and I think that will ripple into something more impactful for our generation. And I feel, yeah, we need to preserve especially children like my own. I'll be continuing to encourage them to be creative and walk creatively, whatever it may be, because they need that and the world needs that.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, and just the fact that you're so aware of that, I can see you encouraging that throughout the years, with your children, because also, right, you get something from it too, like
Oh yeah.
speaking of environment, being an environment that
Oh yeah.
young children are so alive with creativity. Oh
Oh
my
yes.
goodness.
Oh yes. And oof, now you just reminded me. Then like there does come a point then as parents where you have to let go of the pressure of making sure you're raising them right and just being open to what's happening, right? Like not being so reactive to what are you doing, but actually stopping to look at what they're doing and see, hey, maybe they're just exploring themselves creatively,
Yeah,
you know. We get so caught up like with I'm gonna have to clean it up or I'm gonna have, and it's like you could number one teach her how to start cleaning up after her mess. That's an opportunity, right?
hmm.
But also more importantly, what's happening? What is she learning? Like
Yeah,
she's experiencing the world for the first time. Like this is only 2 years out of mama's womb. Everything is new to me. Like
yeah,
AI is new to us, but her, it's AI, it's the wall, it's the shelves. It's like, why does this do this? Why it's everything, right? And so just giving them the permission as well, the
yeah,
creative permission, which they already have, but just letting them flow in that, requires us to humble ourselves and also learn and pay attention to what's going on and not make it about ourselves and oh then I'll have to do this like I mean okay and then you know is that at the sacrifice of children who are growing and learning more about themselves life and these things which are irreplaceable you know I definitely want to remind myself and I have to remind myself in those moments to, like just let her explore.
yeah,
Let her understand, let her see, and that also starts to teach me and remind me to do the same.
yes,
So when you said that it's because I need them to 100%, like my children teach me things in as much as I'll teach them things that I know for, in my adult years, but they're constantly teaching me things and it's that humility to also receive help from your kids. I don't know if you've ever had to like go through that process or if you've always been open because it seems counterintuitive to the role you play in their lives, but the role that they end up playing in yours.
absolutely. Like it didn't take me long to realize, even when they were little, super
Wow.
little.
Yeah.
And of course, I needed to, help keep them safe at those ages,
Yes.
but it was so evident to me so early on, like, oh, they are my teachers.
Hmm.
Yeah, there could be a few things that I teach them,
Of
but
course. Hmm.
overall, they're teaching me.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it just reminds me of so this has been on my mind lately too, just the language of it and the embodiment of it. Like process versus outcome. And I understand, that there are certain outcomes that we have to be aware of,
Yes.
but
Yes.
I do feel like humanity has really strayed from process and
Yeah.
the benefit of mindfulness of process. And I just have the feeling, I don't know about you and what you're experiencing in life um but I have the feeling that that's where we're going more. I think something you said earlier was about, like the certain way we've been doing things isn't working, or it's no
Yes.
longer working, or it's not getting us where we, again, to the outcome
Yeah.
we thought we wanted to go. And
Exactly.
yeah, so what if this is it, my friend? What if it's the creativity? What if it's the processed? How can we have a more process-based day?
Yeah. No, I do honestly feel like it is resurging, right? Like, and we can go so deep into this and just how it impacts everything because um really if I can speak about my life, you know, process has been something that's been built into my faith, and knowing that God is working all things for my good because he loves me, and that includes my mistakes. And so that means I don't have to always get it right.
Yeah.
That means I can be wrong and figure it out. Like the outcome-based society is instant gratification. It's everything ready for you right now. Microwave kind of lifestyle. To the point that, like, where I am with like my art academy, things are not where I would desire them to be. But it's only gonna get there because I'm in the process of figuring it out. In the process, it takes longer than you desire. It's not as pleasant. And I know that's what pushes people away from it, but I know as well that if they understood that it's being in the process
Mhm.
that gets you the result that you desire, you'd be more tolerable of it, right? And we can feel within ourselves, because I do believe that in God's intentional design, going to gym rather than getting a quick fix me up of, like, I don't know, something that was artificially made at a pharmacy store that gives you the same results just doesn't do the same thing for us internally, like within our souls. Something's going against our nature. And being made aware of that, like just even awareness that, oh, things do feel bad before they get good. I go
Yeah.
to gym, I feel weaker before I feel stronger.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. So this is part of what gets me what I want. And so therefore, I should learn to enjoy and embrace the process because it works on our character. It has helped me already just perceive so much of what I never considered and what I thought I understood, which I didn't. And I've become more of a student of, patience as well. Like I didn't realize how impatient I was in certain of my ambitions and goals, right? And it's definitely something that plagues the youth. It's worse in adolescence, but maybe it trickles out as you're into your 30s. I'm almost 30 now. But it's something that I know, wow, I thought this was something resolved within me, but looking back at some of my actions, it's like, okay, there's still a lot of impatience in me. Why? Like, be patient. I know tomorrow's not promised, but just if tomorrow is the last day that you had left, rushing to do ABC isn't the best way to make use of the last day that you have left. So if this is all I get to do, let me do it being present as best as I can, etc. Because it's not gonna get me the results I want any faster. So process is definitely something that I teach more like on my content and just want people to be more aware of. it's beautiful. There's I wouldn't have it any other way because I mean, as reality serves, the best way is to just be embracing of those of that of process rather than result, and process will get you the result. It's almost like how, you know, I've learned like in marriage, for me to be respected by my wife, I have to serve her, right? Like leadership, good leadership is in service, which sounds contrary or counterintuitive to what we have believed leadership actually is. And the more that I've just served my wife and served my children as well,
Yeah.
the more they have found reason to love me and to help me and ultimately get the things that I desired out of them. So if I don't make it about what I desire from them and make it about what I can do for them, right, which is process,
Process. I was just thinking that.
right, then I receive the outcome. So
Yeah.
it's not to demonize outcomes. Outcomes are a natural part of life. You plant a seed, a tree grows. But if you don't make it about the tree growing and make it about the process of planting the seed, I think your quality of life improves radically, and we find ourselves doing a lot more productive, creative things.
Yes. Yes. Oh, I love this conversation.
Me
I
too.
think we're gonna have to continue. You know
Yes.
that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Well, what would you like to share about what you're doing and how you're working with people now and about your academy?
So my academy is focused on, bigger picture building the artists of tomorrow. I do believe that artistic innovation does always come from embracing the time that you're in, the technology's there, you name it. And I could go, much deeper into that, but like when the photo camera was created, that was a disruptor that caused certain artists to feel like, what's the point of drawing? But those who embraced it found a new way to express themselves artistically. And same thing with the computer. And I believe the same thing happens with AI, and not so much, you know, people's contention now, which is like image generation. I feel like we're not even scratching the surface of how we can use that to express ourselves artistically. And so the mindset behind the academy is getting people to fall in love with what they do first and foremost, because if you do something without purpose, it's pointless. And being open and creative and welcoming of ideas and challenging, what's commonly said to be done and not done, and shaping the world of tomorrow, because everything is shaped by art. If you look at the clothes we wear, our hairstyles, if you look at the design of our computers, of our houses, if you look at, my goodness, even the type of style that films are in, and the way our dishes and pots look, and the food we eat, the meals we're attracted to, all of that is just influenced by art. And so it touches more areas than people imagine, and just being the platform for people to do that with purposefulness, with creative permission, is ultimately what I want to achieve with them. And the process to that is getting content out to people and helping them where they are. Like when it comes to drawing, I don't pretend to know so much about art and stuff. I offer the best of what I have and continue working on myself to continue offering the best of what I have,
There
and
you go.
the cycle continues.
Yep, yep.
Right. And so that's where we currently are. We've been doing a lot better on my Instagram and reaching out to people and just helping them get quick wins, and also helping them, take further steps if they'd like to work with me for mentorship and tutoring, etc. So
Great.
that's where we currently are with the academy.
That's fantastic. And we'll be sure and have all of that in the description so that people can follow you and create with you and yeah, be a part of that.
No, and I appreciate it. And for those who um, struggling to get back into drawing, I did release a book called Draw Again, Dream Again.
Ooh,
How to reignite your artistic passion and keep the fire burning. Which I'm sure lovely Amy will make available as well in the description.
absolutely. Absolutely. I'll be sure and get all of that from you and then add it in. And I honestly would. I would love to continue this creativity process based conversation as we're evolving too. So maybe this could
Yeah,
become a series of, that
maybe.
we release every so often. I just think it's so important. I think it's so timely. I really
Yeah.
think there's something about that that's happening now. And it's so fun to get together and kind of brainstorm and bounce, like have these share that reciprocal energy like you spoke
Yeah.
of and watch the ball bounce back and forth,
Yeah.
as we share. So thank you so much. These words just dropped in for me related to this conversation
Hmm.
um, about if you love creativity, then serve what you love.
Hmm.
I feel like
Hmm.
that kind of hit on a few things that you said, um, and being of service to the process, being of service
Mm.
to what and who you love.
Mm. 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 No, that's profound. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, my friend. Is there anything else you want to wrap this up with, or
No, just it's always a pleasure to talk with you, Amy, and it's a conversation that will probably stay with me, and I hope to continue it just in seeing what else I'll discover, about life as it pertains to creativity in a way I never thought of before that we'll be talking about. And I'm excited for what that kind of conversation will look like because I know it only gets better from here.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Well, again, thank you. And I'll be looking forward to the next conversation.
me too.